All right, welcome. Today I'm joined with the man, Drew, co-founder of Intelligems, which if you're listening to this, you absolutely know who he is. And it's exciting because you guys recently acquired Because, which is a personalization platform and something I'm super excited about. So we have Drew with us to talk about personalization, on-site testing, and how e-com brands can optimize for profit and grow using Intelligems. So Drew, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Excited to chat about this.
Awesome. So I think maybe the first thing I wanted to ask you, Drew, I'm just going to jump right into it. And you've seen now thousands of brands using Intelligems, and you have a really high vantage point. What types of brands do best with Intelligems? What types of, what do they typically look like?
Ooh, great question. There's a wide mix. And also a lot of ways that people can successfully use Intelligems. We have some people where it's like, oh, their personalization is crazy. We have some people who are just like test, and use it on their acquisition funnel. We have some people who get really deep into like the price optimization game. So there's different modes of what success looks like. A few commonalities. Number one, they are willing to put in the time and effort to make their site intelligent. Like we're all about how do we make commerce intelligent? How do we help you test, get the most profit from every visitor? And our tool tries to automate as much of that as possible, but are you going to go look at your data and diagnose things? Are you going to spend the time to hypothesize good tests instead of just like copying and pasting what you saw on LinkedIn? Are you going to take the time to understand your test results and go level 2 or level 3 segmentation and see, oh, okay, like new customers preferred a different offer than returning customers, or actually like the layout of this page and the things I'm talking about should be different depending on the campaign that someone's coming from, like personalizations. So it's the kind of thing where like the more effort you put in, the more effort you get out. And so the teams that upfront are like, this is important to us, we're going to dedicate resources. That's always true among our successful customers. And there's different ways of doing that, right? It's like, could have someone on point internally, could have a group of people internally, or in a lot of cases, like work with a partner, work with an agency like Convertibles, where it's like, hey, you get the analysis, the design, the dev, the expertise, like all in one. So just like being willing to spend time and think about these things makes one successful. Another commonality is that they do tend to use the whole platform. Like we look at profit uplift. So like, all right, which brands when they started with us to where they are now have increased their profit per visitor the most? Profit per visitor is just like gross profit times your gross profit per order times your conversion rate. So for us, it's like a nice normalized way of how good a job are you doing at extracting value from your traffic. The people who've generated the most profit per visitor lift are making their entire site intelligent, and they are testing landing pages. They are working across their price optimizations. They are testing their offer and the different discounts. They're testing the shipping rate. Like they're viewing the site as a holistic thing where it's not just the content, it's not just like the banners, it's not just the price, it's all of these things working together. And then the third thing is like the people that are really successful tend to have the traffic to make it work. Like we have tools that work for low traffic. Hey, I'm just gonna like set stuff live and go with it. But you do need hundreds to low thousands of orders per month to really be able to get the statistical significance to like build wins on top of each other.
Yep. So us as a service provider, we see brands that have they've installed Intelligems or Shoplift or some sort of tool, and they've tried testing because I don't know if they like think it's easy, and then they run into some sort of technical hang up, and that's when they come to a service provider. Where do you think that brands have the biggest surprise with the implementation effort? Where do you see the most increase? Like, we couldn't get this to work. We couldn't get this to work. Where do people need the most help?
I actually think it's on the hypothesis building. Like, it can be intimidating to go figure out how to build something and how to make it work. But where we see people get stuck is more like, I don't really know what to do or what I want to do. And then they go into the tool and they're like, whoa, there's all these options. And they get even more lost in the sauce of like where to start. I think if you come in with a clear hypothesis, here's what I want to do, it can be quite easy to get going. I mean, if you're testing prices, there's some setup. If you're, trying to test bundles and offers, like there's integrations that you need to nail, but the biggest challenge is just having a clear hypothesis. This is what I want to test and why. Great, now I can go figure that out. Instead of some people download and they're like, oh, I heard this thing will make me more money.
Yep.
And then it's like, oh, what should I do next? And like, that's where there's an education opportunity for us, like in the platform, and then also using all of our partners of like, hey, let's give you a bunch of ideas of where to start that are based on your data, and you can just click and go.
I'm going to give you some sauce right now, Drew, and this is going to get clipped up. This is going to be sick. You're going to absolutely love this. So there is, through AI and all of the information available, especially if a brand is 8 figures, they just have such a footprint online between Reddit, YouTube conversations of people talking about the product, all earned media. It's not sponsored. It's just natural, organic conversations. And what we've been able to do is, and this is a process that anybody can use to pull together great test hypotheses. And this has cranked our win rate through the roof. And I'll share this to anybody who wants it. But basically, you can go to AI, and if you can sequence the prompts in a way that goes one step at a time and doesn't break context limits, like you can't upload like hundreds of thousands of rows of data. So what do? So we call each data source like a context source. And it's say there's some top Reddit threads, all of the Trustpilot reviews, deep competitor research. We're going to take a snapshot, literal screenshots of the meta ads library, and we're going to structure all of that in a way and tag it positive sentiment, negative opportunity, and that's step one. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go through the site, homepage, collection page, product page, and we're going to take screenshots, mobile, desktop, and we're going to use AI with some prompting and say, okay, based on the context we've loaded from the meta ads library, Reddit conversations, we want to do an experience audit. What's on the page that what should be on the page that's not on the page? Where are we not reinforcing value? Where's a friction point? Where are all those frustration points? And we have this like master prompt that comes out with some super amazing summaries, and then we just do the curation of this, and we're able to get amazing test hypotheses in just a matter of a couple hours. And back when I was running Simply, we paid $30,000 to get these types of reports. And with AI, you can get them in a few hours, as long as you have the great prompts, you sequence them right. And for this brand, fear that it's scammy or will lock people into subscriptions, no clear starting path on home or collection pages. Well, now we can go and hypothesize tests. And this has just shot our win rate up through the roof. So the research is really everything for testing for us.
I mean, and that's always what's like separated good from bad tests. It's like, am I just copying and pasting, or am I basing this in the context of the business? We have some interesting stuff we're working on soon that's actually going to come at it from the other layer too. We just released this feature called site-wide analytics. So we've always collected a ton of data. We only show you these slices. Test A, Group B.
Right.
And we had people being like, well, how has my profit visitor evolved over time? How does it look on different funnels, different pages? And so we're like, hey, we have it. You can throw custom events in there. So now people can view all of that Intelligems data across any journey, the entire site, like every session. And we're also taking that lens to help people build better hypotheses of, hey, these pages are underperforming. You have like breaks in your funnel here that we see in the data. And so like, it's kind of a nice place to go opportunity size. Because a mistake I see a lot of people is they get dialed in on, I really think this page is busted, I want to spend time here. It's like, great, but even if we got that page to 100% conversion, it drives like 1% of your revenue. So we're better off focusing where there's big opportunities.
Focusing on the high traffic
That's super
junctions
cool,
in the site.
I want to jam more on that with you. That looks awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I'm happy to send you the process notes on that one. So Drew, I wanted to talk to you about personalization. Can you tell me a little bit about why you guys bought Because and what that's going to unlock within the Intelligems feature set for brands that are using the tool?
Yeah. we view our goal as Intelligems of like make commerce intelligent, and we want to help brands build smart adaptive sites that are like making decisions for you. A/B testing is obviously a huge component of that, right? Like I can make better decisions about what to show each customer through testing. Personalizations is the other side of that coin. As you learn more about what your customers want, what your customers respond to, you can start to tailor the right message and path and offer and shipping rate to different audience segments. And you go from you kind of find a global maximum when you're A/B testing. You're like, A versus B, all right, this on average was better. And you're always finding the on average best. But in reality, your traffic is made up of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of different people. And so, I think personalizations are important because they're a way to capture the alpha from your tests. Hey, I got a winning test, but it only won for this segment. Or B was best for this segment, C was best for this segment. Great, lock that in. I am going to run that as a personalization. Now, different people are seeing different things. I don't need to touch anything. I know that that's generating alpha for me, extra profit, incremental profit. And there's also personalizations that are hypothesis driven, where people are like, yeah, I want to show it. I know that returning customers are coming to my site looking for something different. I'm going to have tools with Intelligems and Because to show a different version of the homepage, show different USPs, show different images for returning customers or whatever it may be. And we think that personalizations are the way to lock in even more gains on your site. We loved that Because had a lot of know-how on what personalizations work and some great no-code tools to spin up personalizations very easily. And that's something that we're working on is how do we... Intelligems is amazing for the power users. We also want to make it amazing for the no-code users. And so pulling some of that in and another feature we're really excited about is they have Because it has a great Klaviyo integration. So you hold all your information about customers in Klaviyo. It functions as your CDP. We will be able to let you target tests and personalizations based off those segments. So much kind of easier to do than kind of the current threading experience together with UTM parameters or JavaScript.
Yep. That's fantastic. I know for us, we're super excited about it because a lot of times, and this has happened many times, you look at a test that's a wash. And you go, damn, I really thought this would have helped, but you drill down maybe mobile desktop, first time site visitors returning, and you see clearly, and maybe on mobile it was a loser, on desktop it was a plus 10% lift, stat sig 95%, and there's just a different experience, right? There's more of an economy of space on mobile. On desktop we have more real estate to play with, and these are basic personalizations that we've been seeing. I wanted to share with you something that we can get out there to brands of how they can, because I believe that personalization starts before onsite. It actually starts at the ad, and I think there's some amazing tools like Meta and Google in particular. Before your ad even serves in the auction, they already know the gender, the approximate income, the interests of a user. And if you structure your accounts in a way, you can get that information passed into your site experience. And I have a small little presentation to walk you through on this one.
Cool.
I'm super excited about this because I totally agree with you, Drew. There's so much alpha, but there's a lot of work to be done. And what is that work? So one perspective is that effective personalization starts in your ads account. And this is leveraging the demographic data that Google and Meta already have before your ad even serves. So what kind of data is there? And this is one of the big blockers to implementing personalization. And most campaigns on the left here, you can see 1865 plus all. This is how most campaigns are running in Meta. And then we have our Google targeting. And we have a range of trigger groups that we can set campaigns up around. So how would we actually implement this? Let's give an example. Let's say we have a company selling weightlifting equipment. And it's generally, say, it's maybe a male-dominated sport. So you can see the results here in the ads are all black. It's clearly targeted to men. Probably 80-90% of the customers are searching for the, that's appealing to them. But there is female lifters. Let's just clone our Google Ads campaign and have one targeting men, one targeting women. And now in the most cases where Google can identify a female user, we're going to serve, it's the same product page, but we're going to serve the variant that most women buy. In this case, the lilac color. Or there's going to be some lifestyle photography. You can see in the fourth image on the bottom row where it's a female powerlifter. This is going to, not only is this going to improve conversion rates on site, this is going to crank click-through rate up for that demographic. And nobody else is doing this. And now what we can do is we have a UTM parameter loaded into the campaign, and we can trigger on-site experience. So when you land on that product page, we're going to make sure female athletes are serving on the product page. And we see this over and over and over. We work with one brand, a 9-figure brand, and they're really trying to push into a millennial audience, but they also have a lot of older demographics. They say if a millennial, through user studies, if a millennial sees older generations in the photography, they'll say, oh, this is a boomer brand, this is not for me, and they bounce. But vice versa. So one of the things you could do is you could have a base experience on the left. You could have older photography if you identify somebody as 45 plus. Another way, and this is dead simple, they compared 20-year-olds to 60-year-olds. And for 60-year-olds to have the same reading ability on a 50 centimeter view distance, the font needs to be twice as big. So if you have a big part like 55 plus, just crank up the font size. I know it sounds simple, but we're talking like 15-20% lifts to conversion rate. And I think a lot of brands, fashion apparel, that have they're like very brand conscious, very designy, they go for very small font sizes, and this is crippling conversion rate in their older demographics. So this is a perfect use case for personalization. But it has to start at the ads account. The ads account needs to be segmented by age. Otherwise you can't, unless they,
it makes so much sense. I mean, a personalization is only as good as the data you have about who you're personalizing to, right? If we don't have no idea who's coming in, there's not really much to personalize. Exactly. But like the ad tells you so much about who clicked through, and we call it rhyming, of like if you can get the page to rhyme with the ad and what you know about that person, I mean, it's just like, talk about removing friction. You're going to get bigger baskets, more conversion. The thing I'd say on this, people I hear so many customers get overwhelmed by this. They're like, oh, well, I can't tag everything, and how am I going to personalize to everyone? And that's so overwhelming. And they end up liking the idea, and then being like, I don't know how I get there. And like, it seems like a lot of work, and it falls out in the middle. And what I always say is like, you don't need to personalize everything. You can have that base experience as the standard and just pick one thing. Be like, hey, I have a gifting demographic. That's grandparents. I have men or women. Let me try to identify and change one thing. And like, you're always going to have the base version of your site, which is optimized and converts well. And it's like, just try one personalization on top of it. It does not need to be a complete set. And that, I think, unlocks for people, oh yeah, I do know that I have like 2 or 3 different types of key demos on my site.
Exactly. And the other thing I would say is, if somebody says it's too hard, let me ask you this, to a brand owner: how many changes have you made to your shopping feed in the last year? 0. Every brand doesn't touch their shopping feeds. They don't mess with it. It is the lowest maintenance. It's the lowest maintenance part of Google Ads is your PMax shopping campaigns. So just clone them and set up some trigger groups. Clone it once, have male, female. Clone it again, maybe have top income, lower income. There's a bunch of ways you can try it, and it's set and forget. So once you set up those UTM parameters, you're leveraging all of that data from Google and Meta about who the user is before they hit the site. If you have to wait for them to fill out a form, go through a survey on your site, 90% of people are not going to do that, but you can get this information from Google and Meta, and you can use it to generate an improved experience, higher conversion rates. And I really believe that shopping is probably the first place for brands to start, because it's so set and forget. That would be, but there is an implementation lift, and I think that's what stops brands from getting into it.
Yeah, it just sounds intimidating, but it's like we could if you and I worked on a brand, we could probably like get that set up, do a holdout test, check the uplift, and like, I don't know, probably get that done in 2 weeks with the test.
Yeah.
Actually show,
Yeah,
hey,
exactly.
this is generate. And then it's just like, then you can just leave it on, right? It's like,
Yeah, exactly.
That's captured.
That's the beautiful thing, exactly.
And
Yeah.
ongoing value.
Yep. Yeah, none of this is, it's, I love Intelligems for that too, because you set these things up and then you test. You know, maybe you have an older demographic of photography, younger. You go, wow, in the older demographic, we had a 15-20% lift stat sig. Let's just deploy that as a personalization.
Yep.
And the whole architecture of the UTM tags that's powering it is just running, always on. It's a beautiful thing when we have this set up for clients and brands. So I'm so excited about it. Drew, is there anything else you want people to know about Intelligems personalization and just that sort of your pitch for using the tool?
Come use it. Tell us what else you want. We're trying to make it as easy and as useful as possible. So keep an eye out for Klaviyo targeting. Keep an eye out for more no-code stuff. Tell us what you want to personalize. And I mean, with AI these days, like you showed, I mean, I think the limits of what's possible to build have gone up exponentially. So yeah, give it a try. There's a free trial, and just don't be shy with feedback for us.
Let's go. Rock
Cool.
and roll. Okay, Drew.